was stressful, a lot like wiring a bike. We here at Federal take a lot of pride in good, clean wiring, and I'm going to show you how we do it here. Let's do it. Don't let wiring intimidate you. All you need to be successful is a couple of tools and a little bit of time and some focus, and we can get it done. Let's walk through what you'll need. You're going to need an assortment of connections. You're going to need an assortment of wire heat shrink. You're going to need specialty crimpers, your favorite pair of wire strippers, a decent pair of snips, some wire, a lighter, or in this case, a little torch, and if you're really feeling fancy, some sheathing to cover that wire where you might see it. So these are your three main connections that we tend to use here at Federal. You've got your spade connections, you've got your bullet connections, and the booty or butt connections. The main difference being these are both removable, you can plug and unplug them, and the butt connector is permanent. So when you're choosing which one you're going to use, keep that in mind. Anyway. All right, we got a couple little pieces of wire we cut here so we can show you what we're doing. A couple different ways to strip wire. This is the more traditional one you'll see. This is 18 gauge wire. So you line it up with the 18 gauge, which is barely visible on this one anymore. And you pull the insulation right off. It's that simple. There you go. So now you've exposed the copper. The other way, this is my preferred method, is there you go. Pretty fast, pretty easy. These are good. I don't like these. So we've got our two wires that we're ready to butt together. We need to choose butt, bullet, or spade. I'm going to use bullet as my example for this video, but please choose the one that suits your scenario the best. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the female bullet connector. I'm going to place it over the exposed copper, just like that. I'm going to take my crimpers, and if you see, there's two places to crimp on these. You've got your snipping, you've got your initial, and you've got your secondary crimp right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the initial crimp section, and I'm hoping that you can see how I've got that lined up in there. Is that a good shot? See that? Good? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I squeeze that hard. So that's what it'll look like after you first crimp it, and that doesn't look good. So what you do is you take that, you turn it 90 degrees, you put it in the secondary, and you can sort of close it up a little bit. Spend a little bit of time making that crimp as small as possible. That looks better. I think that looks pretty good. Next thing we'll do is grab a little piece of heat shrink. Now, I did the classic mistake where you forget to put the heat shrink on before you crimp the connector. Don't do what I did. Make sure you slide the heat shrink onto the wire before you put the connector on. I take my torch. I'm just going to shrink that. Now, this is a female, so this outside will be exposed when it's on the bike. You're going to want to grab a bigger piece of heat shrink, which is totally lost. I'm just going to grab one. You're going to want to take a bigger piece of heat shrink, cut it down, slide it right. The tighter the fit, the better. Slide it right over until it's flush with the front, just like that. Hit it with a little more heat. Boom, look at that. So that's a perfectly prepared female bullet connector, and that's ready to go. You won't be shorting between the frame and this. This is ready to go. Now let's do the male. You're going to shove your copper right into the male bullet. No innuendos, no dirty comments, guys. You can line that right up in the initial crimp spot. Two-hand it to send it home. Make sure you get the whole thing. And like before, that's a pretty ugly crimp, so we're going to take our secondary crimp and just make that look a little prettier, make it look a little nicer. There you go, nice and small, ready to go. Grab ourselves a little bit more heat shrink. This is crucial. Take the female you just made and the male you just made and connect them until you hear the click, which is not very loud, but you'll feel it. Until you feel it click. How about that? Slide that forward right up until the silver disappears, and now you know when you connect it, you won't have any exposed wiring. Sometimes you have to work it with your thumb a little bit, but that's just sort of the nature of the beast. All right, we got that on there. I'm satisfied. Nothing's going to be shorting up against that. Take the torch, shrink it down, and there you go. Classic butt connector. And if you need to disconnect it, there you go. So this is a really good usage if you're doing a taillight on a fender or something you might need to pull off a lot. This just lets you have a clean connection that looks good, works good. There you go. Man, wasn't that awesome? Didn't we learn so much? Didn't we fix so many motorcycles? If you want to see more videos like this, if you want to see me fixing more stuff, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, follow along. If there's a video you want to see, if there's a question you want to ask, leave it down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything you got. We do these videos for you guys. Any feedback you can give us only helps us make better videos for you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later.